Well, there's a position out there that the government is supposed to be in charge of creating jobs. Alright, you know what? If there is any argument for socialism, that's the one. If the government has any responsibility at all over creating jobs, that government is 100% like in charge of the economy. And a state that controls the economy is a socialist state by definition. So either the position is like a straw man, because there's no way they would support a socialist government, or they're complete morons because they're supporting a socialist government and they don't even know it. Now, I would probably say that they are legitimately supporting a socialist government, but much like the old German Nazi party, the Nationalist Socialist Party, they want a socialist country that is entirely on its own and has its own rules and doesn't kowtow to any kind of international bills of rights, which I think is admirable. That's a position that I think is a, nuanced, legitimate political stance. But you have to admit that it is socialist, even if it's nationalist as well. And the potential for a kind of Nazi government is a hell of a lot more likely without any kind of international Bill of Rights or anything like that. Which is fine if you want that kind of situation. Obviously, I think that it's not going to happen. We have a free press, and our free press is so powerful that we get to know things going on all around the world, whether people around the world want us to get to know them or not. So I'm pretty confident that alone is sufficient to support a system of accountability on an international level without any kind of Bill of Rights for international legal structure. So, it's a legitimate position, but let's be honest about what it is instead of calling it something that it's not. It's socialist. This is the socialist revolution this season. Both parties have become socialist parties. We already knew the Democrats were fairly socialist, but they were also highly corrupt socialists because large corporations run this country. We all know that. The Republicans are, I think, far more likely to let large corporations run the country. But as long as we understand that whether or not we are democratic, we are first and foremost socialist, can reframe the debate. Are we democratic or are we more Republican? I mean, those are the names of the parties. I think it's very significant. Do we elect people to make decisions for us, or do we ourselves have referendums like they did in Britain, Colorado, California, and decide on legal questions for ourselves? I think that's the real difficult question, because anyone can argue that a representative is doing something incorrect. But when a whole population votes unanimously or with a large majority in favor of a certain point of legislation, then you can't really say that the people don't want to do it. And there is legitimate backup for such legislation. And I don't think that's going to be very common, because it's hard to get a large majority these days. But on certain social issues and certain cultural hotspots, like I would say North Dakota, South Dakota, they might pass some laws that violate human rights. And the same way with some place like Oregon, or no, not Oregon, Vermont, like a Vermont, something like that. So cultural hotspots, places where there is a homogenous cultural backdrop to the whole state. You have bigger states, like I said, Oregon before, but Oregon is a huge state, and there is a mixed cultural backdrop. There is a very diverse culture in Oregon, the whole state, So, but in some place like Vermont, or less so in New Hampshire, but like Delaware, like for instance, the place where I'm from, that is a cultural hotspot. That's what I would call a cultural hotspot. A place where there is very distinct popular culture. And I love Delaware. Delaware is the best, because it's got this mid-Atlantic culture that's very rare in the country, and I think most people should study it. Alright, now I'm going off on a tangent, so it's time to stop.